have a special shirt for next week. So we have to podcast next week if because otherwise it's not going to make sense. I suppose it could
a
be
special shirt for next week and
special.
only next week.
I've been holding on for this shirt all year. So.
And what a bummer, folks. We won't be able to podcast next week.
Why do you want to make Becca sad?
Welcome back, everyone, to the Track Packers podcast for episode number 33 of season 2. We had a week off to rest and recover. We're back ready for more racing, knowledge, know-how, whatever you may call it. Myself, Mason, along with Jessup and Becca Pelkey. And our Collinsworth for this episode is Mr. John Breckel. Welcome back, everyone, from a brief break. As always, we are presented by Hitch Harness, our presenting sponsor, Tyler Hall out of Fertile, Minnesota. We want to thank him for supporting us the entire year. This is the time of year, especially if you're looking for gifts for the holiday season. Check out the website, hitchharness.com, to check out all their products. Of course, they're specialized in their main focus with the hitch harness in the back of the truck. You have multiple styles and colors to choose from, amenities for the racers, so much more. They're continually adding to their inventory. Be sure to check out the website, and thank you so much for Tyler for supporting us on the podcast. So I don't honestly remember if we had many cautions for the last episode, so I think we're just going to keep the lineup the same with myself, Mason, on the pole, followed by John, Jessup, and Becca. I honestly don't remember, and I've been sick the last 2 days.
You got a horrible caution right off the start. John and I remember this because both you and Becca were black flagged for too many cautions before the green flag was dropped.
Well, was that on the video recording that was actually produced for the public?
Doesn't matter. A caution's a caution.
Well, then there's no evidence.
Yeah, but there's no evidence of half of Lee Petty's and Richard Petty's wins because nobody saw it. I didn't see it. Where's my evidence? Do I have to take some person's word?
Anyways, John, how are you doing?
Documented it in history.
I'm doing very good tonight. So we are in the heart of bowling season now, so I'm pretty busy when it comes from bowling tournament perspectives. But other than that, it has been a great time here in North Dakota, as this week we might get some snow. I'm not excited about that.
Yeah, that's a true sign of the season's changing, unfortunately, but kind of could use a break from everything, I guess. Jessup, how are you doing?
I am good, even though I should be rightfully on the pole. Actually, I should be outside pole. John would be pole.
I mean, with John's knowledge, he probably should be on the pole, but we got to make the race interesting. Miss Becca, how are you doing?
I'm good. I am gearing up for this weekend's Dakota Speedway Awards banquet. So I'll be emceeing the banquet once again this year. So I'm getting ready with the presentation that I always provide, writing little scripts here and there for surprise awards, and just getting ready with some last minute donations for the live auction to help raise additional funds for track improvements for next year. So a lot of stuff going on as usual. I've waited till the last minute to do all these things, so feeling a little stressed, but I'm sure it'll go just fine. And I'm excited for this weekend, so we get to see my racing family once again going into the off season.
Yeah, it's that time of the year with banquet season. I know Nodex Speedway just had their banquet this last week, and so those are going to start cropping up over the next few weeks before we get into the Christmas holiday season. I got to sneak in one race this last weekend as a last little hurrah for 2023. So nice to kind of get one more set of races in before settling into off-season mode with a lot of highlight videos for projects. And so I'll be busy over the next several months as well. So if this is your first time tuning in, be sure to give us a like and follow on our Facebook page, the Track Packers Podcast. Be sure to like and share, comment on the video, because we have some fun stuff that we're going to be doing over the next few episodes, kind of like a little recap a little bit into the 2023 season. And if you're a listener, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. One day, Jessup will get to read a 5-star review on this podcast. And so if you want to be the first one to do so, be sure to leave that 5-star review. But with that, I think we will go right into this episode, drop the green flag for episode number 33 and get into who or what are we repping. Mr. Jessup Pelkey, I'll let you do the honors to start this off. Who or what are you repping?
Well, Mason, it's been an irrelevant season, so I am wearing quite yet another irrelevant shirt to keep my streak alive. And I am wearing the Western Idaho Racing Association from 2012. And it looks like it's like asphalt racing, but I went to look them up today, and there's nothing on them right now.
Interesting. Yeah, I know they have some asphalt tracks out there, but I haven't really heard much about.
Yep, that's about all I got for you guys. I'm sorry. It's just an irrelevant time of year.
You know what's interesting too, just a little aside, I saw like a live feed for, I think it was the Asphalt Nationals for the NX Legends, I think in Las Vegas.
I believe Keelan Harvick won that.
Oh, we got to see him race this year. Or no, he didn't?
Becca says nay.
Keelan won the road course nationals up at New Hampshire. So caution on Jessup.
But this is true. Yep. Becca, I'm actually in that same boat. I'm giving you a caution because, not the right event. But that's like saying, that is very much saying like Kevin Harvick won the race down in Daytona this past weekend when we were really in Homestead.
And John gets a caution on that too, because Kevin Harvick didn't win any race this weekend.
That was an example.
To clarify,
example.
The road course nationals
Vipers don't lie, kids.
The week prior to this weekend that Jessup is referencing down in Las Vegas. Or Mason's
I'm sorry, I was too busy driving Reba around on Saturday to recall or look up any racing stuff. So I'm sorry, folks.
Well,
it's okay, Jessup. You go to the back no matter what, so it's fine.
Well, anyways, the point of my aside was saying, like, I was watching like a little bit of the live look-in for like the Asphalt NX Legends, and honestly, I was not all that entertained with the racing. It was just kind of follow the leader on the bottom. So I think we're really fortunate and blessed to have like the racing we do have in the NX Legends up in our neck of the woods, personally. So just a random little aside there. But awesome shirt, Jessup, for the Western Idaho Racing Association, wherever that may be in Western Idaho. Becca, what are you repping?
So this week I am repping the 27th annual Dakota Classic Modified Tour t-shirt from back in 2016 because recently, just last week, Dakota Speedway announced that they are going to make the transition from WISSOTA Street Stocks to IMCA Stock Cars. So I thought this would be a good tie-in to that big news announcement that came out just last week. So not going to go into a super deep history review like John Brecka likes to do, but your 2015 points champions, which are on the back of the shirt, your modified champion was Ricky Thornton Jr., and your IMCA stock car champion was Elijah Zevenbergen. So nice little shirt from the recent, not so distant past, but I thought that would be a nice little tie-in to Dakota Speedway's big news as of the last week or so. So it'll be interesting to see what the 2024 season brings. Yes, Jessup.
I believe that's very distant. It's more than 5 years. To the back you go.
I was actually thinking that same thing, Jessup.
To the back you go, back. I'm sorry.
I think he's just petty.
You're going to the
That's from 2016, and we're basically almost 8 years now away from that.
If you're
Not
gonna
that
call me
far
Petty,
away.
call me Richard Petty. And if you're calling me Richard Petty, just call me King.
No, absolutely not.
Lee?
Call you
Call me
King?
Lee Petty?
Oh, that never gonna happen.
Kyle?
Maybe
You
Kyle.
are more like a
How
Kyle
about we
Petty.
just call
Yay,
caution
Becca
on
gave
Jessup?
herself a caution.
No, Chris is a
Becca
caution on
is-
Jessup. Just he's a hot mess today. Holy moly.
He really is.
Why,
I mean,
how am I a caution there?
We're not calling you King.
Well, that's for
And you're
dang
not Lee
sure.
Petty either.
You just called me Petty, so you might as well call me Sir. Okay, fine. I don't want to be called King Petty. I don't want to be Sir Petty, as in Sir
Whatever.
Richard Petty.
8 years ago is not that long ago. Let's be real.
I was still in college 8 years ago.
Well. Becca doubled down, and now I'm doubling down on her punishment.
I mean, it's not. I don't view it as long ago, but if you do, I do. I don't.
John,
I don't.
do you agree with this?
I actually do agree with Jessup on this one that this is definitely not
2016
just
was the year we met, Jessup. Do you think that was a really long time ago? I don't.
I do.
it's
But
probably
look at all the
hairline was
hair he's
here.
gotten since
Caution.
then.
I mean,
My hairline was
because
here.
This is on preference.
This
I
is
don't think
lost
so.
from
They think
Becca.
so.
I'm looking like John because of Becca.
This would be a good
Yeah.
time to
Black
reach out to the
flag.
audience and say the red flag is up
Black
for sponsorship.
flag.
If you would like to sponsor any flag on the Track Packers podcast, be sure to message the page and let us know.
and I can't believe Becca did not do a history lesson. She has
You
not
are
learned
going to
very
the
well.
pits.
I
Go
I
to the
mentioned-
pits.
I mentioned who won the mod championship and the stock car championship.
So I actually do have a question on this, being it was the 2015 top 10 that was on the back of your shirt. What year did Jamestown get back on the Dakota Classic Modified Tour? Because I thought they were off for several years.
They were off for several years. Yes. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jamestown hosted an event for the Dakota Classic Modified Tour back in 2005. They were first back on in 2005. They had an event, the Dakota Classic Modified Tour. They were then off for a couple more years. And then in 20, I believe it was 2013, was one of the years that they were brought back on, but I might be wrong on that. It actually might be earlier than that. But I remember 2013 was one of their first years that they were definitely back on it because they opened it back in 2013. They were the first night on the tour.
Yeah, because I think you're right around the same time frame, because Minot flooded out in 2011, so they didn't host anything for the mod tour that year. I think they held the double header in 2012. And then because I was
Mandan had the doubleheader in 11 when Minot rained out.
Yeah, because I think from there, because I always grew up with Minot being, or Nodak Speedway being the first night of the tour, but then I know it switched over probably around that 2013-14 range. So you're probably right on that.
And those were the years that John Gartner Sr., the tour director, correct me if I'm wrong, John, he had to rent the track to even have Jamestown on the tour.
Yep, because Jamestown was full with WISSOTA back then. So 2013, 2014, 2015 might have been that way. And then I believe Jamestown fully took it over in 16. Because that would have been basically one of the first years that Jamestown had full on IMCA as well for the mods.
Yep. Yeah. So interesting little history from the Dakota Classic Modified Tour. See, Becca, you sort of like spearheaded a history lesson in a sense.
Yay!
Well, another interesting thing about the 2015 one, if you guys remember correctly on the 2015 one, the championship night of that tour did not happen over in Mandan.
It happened in Jamestown, right?
Yes.
And
the mod feature did not happen.
Really?
Because of rain.
It rained at like what, 8:30, 9 o'clock? They got the stock cars in, but then the mod drivers voted. They voted not to race, and then did they split the money evenly? But
They
then
split the money evenly, I believe, because I remember it rained. Did it rain before the consies? I feel like it rained before the mod consies. And then the mod consies came out. They got those done. The stock car feature came out, and it started raining like halfway through the stock car feature, I think. So they called the stock car feature early. And then it was raining more, and then they worked the track. And then I think it rained again. And then they worked the track, and then the drivers voted and said no.
it was a late night. Like I think
Yeah, it got to be really late because of the rain delays.
I remember hanging out in Travis Ulmer's pit trailer, and it was a late night when they finally decided just to call it. So yeah, that was the year before Jessica and I went on tour, and that was a fun little night in Jamestown.
Because then the next night, Jamestown had an IMC modified special, a follow-up tour,
Oh,
which Ricky Thornton Jr. won that next night.
Interesting. Well, awesome. That's a nice little trip down memory lane. Good job, Becca, for unintentionally creating a history lesson.
You're welcome.
Mr. John Breckel, what are you repping?
Okay, so I went Legend route tonight because here in a couple of weeks is going to be the Dirt Car Legend Nationals down in Fayetteville. And so I went Legend route with Glenn Mitchell. So I'm wearing Glenn's shirt from this past year. It has this car on the back of it as well. Glenn and his wife Joanne are back down in the North Carolina area and likely preparing and getting ready for the Dirt Car Nationals here. That'll be happening. I believe it's November 9th through the 11th. So I think that's basically the weekend time frame that it'll be happening down at Fayetteville. So I know some of our drivers from up here are planning on going down. I believe Preston Martin is planning on going down into basically the Dirt Car Nationals for the Legends. So it'll be it'll be a very good mix of drivers from up here in North Dakota, Minnesota, probably the Iowa range that'll head on over there to compete with the guys over in the East.
Yeah, and I had an interview with the Madlers, and they're planning on going down too. And so I'll be really trying to check that out or see if I can find some live look-ins to kind of watch the race and see how our drivers from up here do, because I think there's several that are going to be down there going to be really competitive. Awesome. Well, great shirt, John. I will finish up who or what are we repping and new swag this past weekend. I mean, I ordered this a few months ago, but finally came in. Sweatshirts for Derek Turner, number 10T out of Fargo. He's a WISSOTA street stock driver. Really nice graphic on the back of his sweatshirt as well. He had actually a really nice end of the season. Got to see him a lot throughout the summer. Still looking for that first career win, I believe, in the street stocks, but he's been getting closer and closer to the front. He had a really good run over the last couple of weekends that he was racing down in Ogilvie, and I'll kind of touch on that in just a little bit, but happy to rep a local Fargonian, I guess if you want to call him that. Derek Turner, the 10T from Fargo. So that's who or what are we repping, and just a little brief track packer report with it being one last race that I got to attend. Did anyone watch any other racing, anything specific at all this last weekend? I know it's kind of been sparse since the season's ended up here. Not even NASCAR?
Well, I watched NASCAR on Sunday when I got home.
We watched NASCAR.
Yeah, I didn't get to catch any of the NASCAR racing this weekend, but I know there's been some action the last couple weeks.
Kyle Larson drove it into a sand barrier. It looked very pedestrian-esque.
Yeah, when I saw the replay of that, I'm just like, come on, man.
It's okay.
It was sad.
Best moment of that whole race was when Karma bit somebody in the ass.
Well,
which one?
Which time?
Both.
Oh, I think I know which one one of them you're referring to.
Would it be when the 11 wrecked?
Yes. Wasn't it sad?
And then under the same caution, Martin Truex blew up?
Yes.
See, I felt kind of bad for Martin, but
I did too. I don't mind Martin. Yeah. I don't mind Martin at all by any means, but I thought it was super ironic on how both him and Hamlin had problems at the same time. And I was like, oh, I'm just devastated for both of you. Well, especially Denny. It happened to a better.
John, did you hear about his interview after that? After the wreck? You know what Denny had to say on it?
Did somebody try to take him out?
last short track racing.
Don't
Sorry,
think
Mason.
that's what he said, but
I don't think that's what he said either. And that's him mocking another just great driver.
That's a two-time champion.
I know, it's sad.
it was a
Hey,
decent finish.
So
I mean,
let's take a quick
late
moment
race
here.
pass for the win.
I
It was a
thought
good race.
I thought it was a good race. I thought
Yeah,
it
it was a good
weird
race.
how things ended. It really sunk my chances at a fantasy championship. But as like,
Ooh.
yeah, it's been a rough year for NASCAR fantasy.
We
but
should probably update the Track Packers fantasy racing.
But all in all, I thought it was a
into-
good race. Becca sounds like my students. They talk over me.
You're always talking.
Yeah, because
She's not wrong.
you're rude. Both of you.
Well, anyways, glad that NASCAR was action-packed as always, even if it was kind of unfortunate in some circumstances. But anyways, I got to go to
Yes, very unfortunate.
Was there anything unfortunate about that besides Kyle?
I was going to say, I think Kyle was the only thing that I truly felt unfortunate, but at least he's already locked in, so it really,
at least
didn't have an
Kyle's
impact.
locked in. I like Denny, but it's getting harder and harder to defend him or like him, to be honest.
Yeah, it was just karma. With the way he was racing Ryan Blaney, it was completely karma.
It's Denny's weird because like even when he wins, he goes out of his way to be a dick to somebody.
Agreed.
It's like, wow, I won by a lap and a half, but that guy running in 17th, that he was holding his line, and he knew I was coming, and I told my spotter to tell their spotter to get out of my way because I'm Denny Hamlin. FedEx is gonna bring the mail. And then
He's not
wrecked
wrong
him.
on this either.
And I wrecked him because it's short track racing, and that guy's a hack.
That's a keyword, hack. That is definitely the key word.
I was going to say, the sad part is, even if he doesn't say that verbatim, that's pretty much how he acts.
That is exactly how he acts. And I love that in his interview after the fact that Ryan Blaney used that word against him this past week. I was like, thank you.
You know, it's just
I'm
weird.
just waiting to see who does Denny wreck this next weekend to get him to the championship
is
four, and then who's
Martinsville.
going to wreck him at Phoenix to get him out of the championship four.
Wouldn't it be just something if Ross wrecked him and we got old? I really wish NASCAR would have just left Ross Chastain alone because he is so boring now.
I haven't really heard much of him.
Because Mr. H, you goes to Chevy and tells Chevy, you tell that Ross Chastain to leave my drivers alone. I'm tired of him giving him the bumper like Dale did. And it was cool when Dale wrecked everyone, but when Ross is wrecking my cars, it's not cool. Chase ain't happy.
I actually would laugh my butt off if Denny gets into the championship four, and then at Phoenix, Larson wrecks him. That would just be perfect karma.
I would say it'd be even better if Blaney dumps him.
That's true. Yep, either one. With
On
how many
the
times
last
Denny has
lap.
raced, with how Denny has raced Kyle this year, Kyle would be justified in everything that he would do.
He
with
would
him.
be, yes.
Well, again, it's how he talks is so backhanded to everybody, and then hypocritical.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he goes on his podcast and spouts it off.
Well,
yes.
I do find some of the things that he's put on his podcast kind of interesting. Like, we can actually see where the wheel is. He turned right into me. Yep. Meanwhile, the podcast after when he dumped someone, no. I did not turn the wheel. Meanwhile, in-car camera footage, we're getting the some beach.
Or like when he wrecked JJ.
Yeah.
Bailey.
Yeah.
This year. Oh, yeah. I stepped on the brakes. No, you didn't.
Well, anyways, that's our little NASCAR aside that we had. I did get to one dirt track race this weekend down at Ogilvie. I've been trying to circle the Topless Nationals on my list for the last few years, and honestly, cold weather has kind of scared me away, but it was actually really good weather this past weekend, so definitely wanted to take advantage of going down there. It's basically a non-sanctioned event, so no matter the sanction, you like depending on the class, you can have all sorts of different cars. So there were some USRA cars, IMCA, WISSOTA, obviously, and so it kind of provided a nice mixture of cars, and it's all to kind of support breast cancer awareness. They had heats on Friday, and then their con-season namings on Saturday with trick or treat in the pits for the kids. So everyone was dressed up in Halloween costumes, and they had all their cars decked out in pink and had all these skeletons on their cars. So it was really cool scene. So I definitely recommend, if you're in the area of Ogilvie Raceway during this time of year, check out the Topless Nationals. It's a really nice laid back way to end the season. So they had a lot of cars. I think it was 310 they had across all their classes. So they had plenty of cars there in attendance this weekend. So just going through the results real quick. Super Stocks went to the Zero of Brandon Duelman, who actually had a pretty good special season, won up at River Cities during the John Sykes Memorial. So congratulations to Brandon Duelman and the Super Stocks. Late Models went to the 11 of Pat Dorr, who is pretty much almost untouchable at Ogilvie Raceway. He's very, very tough to beat. They held off a hard-charging Shane Edgerton to do that. Jeremy Nelson was your winner in the modifieds, the 06 Jeremy Nelson. There's like at least two Jeremy Nelsons in that area, but the 06 Jeremy Nelson was the modified winner. Micro Spins, they ran Wingless, and a fellow Mason Subert, I think is how you pronounce his last name, was the winner in the Micro Sprints. Mod 4s went to this year's national champion, Tommy Bowden, in the TB81. Midwest Mods went to the 5 of David Swearingen. Street Stocks went to Sasquatch Tim Johnson, the 1 junior, and then Hornets went to Matthew Dittman in the 22. And once we got to the features, it was a lot less carnage because the consi races were definitely caution filled. So the first half of the night went by very, very slow. But thankfully, once we got to the features, it was all good. So definitely a fun time down at the Topless Nationals. Did anyone get to catch any of the action online? No.
Well, I watched a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, it was a lot of racing. I will say it was a lot of racing, but it was definitely a laid back atmosphere, and it was really cool to be there for that race. So yeah, and I found it interesting too, like the order of events. Like they ran like the Super Stocks first, and they ran like Midwest Mods and Streets. When I didn't understand it at first, but I think that's because, especially when you get in like the Street Stocks and stock cars, when the track's a little more slicked off, probably like evens out the playing field a little bit. Because I think stock cars handle the traction tracks a little bit better, so they're a little more speedier. So I think that's why they did that. But I found that interesting as the night went on.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but being a very heavily influential WISSOTA-based track, I think it is to help not have their doors blown off.
That's true. Yeah. The more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense why they're like way later in the program typically. Yep. But yeah, so that was the Topless down in Ogilvie Raceway, and that basically encompasses the Track Pack report. The last probably live Track Pack report. Actually, maybe not, because maybe not, because I think we have a couple people going to see a race in a couple weeks. So stay tuned for that. But today's episode is going to be the start of a kind of like a few episodes where we're going to have fun with kind of recapping 2023. We're going to kind of take a stab at one of the most controversial topics in all of dirt track racing, which is power rankings. And so power rankings create a lot of discussion, both constructive and non-constructive, but we're going to try to take a stab at all the classes within the state of North Dakota. And we're going to kind of take a few each week. And so we're going to take a look at about 3 or 4 this weekend and see if we can piece together a top 10 for our Track Packers podcast power rankings for 2023. And so I think the first class I think we're going to look at is like the 4-cylinder, so like short trackers, IMCA Sport Compacts, etc. And so they race all across the state of different like sanctioning bodies or non-sanctioned platforms. And so who has a few that we want to kind of put into the mix for the top 10? We can kind of sort this out.
I will say the 2 obvious ones for Dakota Speedway: Chris Yost and Alex Thompson.
It's a good start.
I'll also add Mason Bogart and Hunter Goulet.
Oh, we got the good one, easy ones out of the way. Good. Good.
Yeah, it's usually like the top part may be easier, and then when we start filtering the bottom half, and it's like, all right, well, who are we gonna add in here? So okay, so I have a spreadsheet. I won't share the screen quite yet. Once we got it figured out, then we'll kind of try to sort it and share it. So
I would say Zach Eubanks had a pretty solid season.
I would agree with that. Zach looks pretty good too.
I will also add James Gilbert to the list.
Now, Mason, you got to stick up for your East Siders.
Well, she said Becca already said a couple names, Hunter Goulet and then Mason Bogart. So I gotta make sure I write them down. Zach Eubanks. I would actually put Kyle Eklund in the mix.
That's where my brain was just going. Yep.
John has a very big brain. The hard drives are firing up, folks. Get ready.
Hard drives.
Wow. See, so we got 7 names so far for 4 cylinders. Trying to think of a few more out east off the top of my head.
I would do Sean Beto.
Oh, yeah, Sean Beto. Yes, thank you.
That's Beto, sorry.
What about Weston Clausen?
Weston Clausen's also another good one.
Yep, Weston Clausen, Beto.
And we'll probably have a few
Katz?
honorable mentions too. What did you say, John?
What about, let's see really quick. Maybe not.
Let's see. So we got the Dakota Speed ones covered. There's several up in Minot. I know. We should go by Tiffany Tuchscher. Because she was running towards the front at several of the races up in Minot too.
Yeah, she almost won a race at the end of the year until Chris Yost made a late race pass for the win. And she's a rookie in that racing division too, so that was pretty impressive.
What about Roger Lutz? You put Pokey in there?
You could put Pokey in there as a name to sort through. Luke, sorry. So we got 11 names. Any other names that stick out?
Did we say Dale Mittleiter?
I haven't said Dale Mittleiter. He's another one that's up towards the front.
He was runner-up in points at Cheyenne this past year.
Okay, so it looks like we got 12 here. Okay, so since we have 12 names here, who do we want to put at the top?
Chris Yost.
I would put Chris. I would probably do Chris just because he's won 2 dry championships this year. Actually, maybe 3.
Did he win up in Botno?
I think he took Botnos as well.
Okay, so we got Chris Yost, number 1. From there, goodness. I mean, you can make an argument for Alex or Sean here.
I'd put Sean personally.
Okay, let's put Sean, number 2.
Hang on.
I think I'd put Alex number 3.
How about Mason Bogart?
Mason's pretty good. I would put Mason next.
Yep.
From one Mason to another, it's only fitting.
What about Sean?
We put him second.
We put him second.
Okay, sorry. I already forgot that. My bad.
So Hunter Goulet won a lot of races as well, but James Gilbert and Weston Clausen are also kind of right there. So I feel like those should be like the next 3.
I would agree.
Agreed. Weston had a really strong end of the year.
Yep. I would probably put Hunter first just because of the amount of wins.
Hunter, Weston, and then James.
Yeah, because James kind of struggled with the car this year until he basically kind of got it figured out towards the end of the year.
And we still have Zach Eubanks, Kyle Eklund, Tiffany Tuchscher, Pokey, and Dale Mittleiter to fill out our top 10. I think Zach should be in the top 10.
Yeah, but I would put Zach maybe 10th. And the reason for that is because Zach ran a sport mod for half the year.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
True.
So then who would you stick in at 8 and 9? Maybe Kyle Eklund in
I
at
think
number
Kyle
8?
Eklund,
Kyle 8, yep.
and then Pokey ninth.
I'd be good with that.
Yeah, I think Pokey 9th, just because I know him and Dale had about the same amount of top 10s, but Pokey had one more top 5.
All righty. So your top 10 is looking like this. So number 1, Chris Yost for your 4 cylinders. Number 2, Sean Beto. Number 3, Alex Thompson, followed by Mason Bogart, Hunter Goulet, Weston Clausen, James Gilbert, Kyle Eklund, Pokey, Lukes, and Zach Eubanks. With honorable mentions going to Tiffany Tuchscher and Dale Mittleiter. Seem good for the first one?
Yep.
Our first little test run? All righty, so that's one class. Only just a few more to go for this episode. And so I think we kind of mentioned that we're going to do most of the WISSOTA classes. So why don't we go to Midwest Modifieds?
Okay. So I would put in there, I'll give you 3 names right away off the top of my head. I would do Lucas Rodine, Jaron Wimstead, and Brennan Waite.
Solid 3 names.
That's why they call him the encyclopedia.
And then the 4th one in that group, I would put Rory Bird. So there's my 4.
I will add 3. I'll go with Nate Ranke, Austin Hunter, and Jared Klein.
Oop, there we go. Becky, do you have any to add?
Well, they cleared off my list. So now let's add, goodness gracious.
I have another couple.
I have another
How about
couple
Matt
too.
Scow, Preston Carr.
Could put Preston Carr. Did he race a lot in the Midwest Mod this year?
He raced in
That's the only
Devil's
class
Lake.
that's the only class he
This is
ran this
kind
year
of
as a Midwest Mod.
interesting. I will have to add one other name here. Aaron Michael.
I was going to say Aaron Michael is one of mine.
Yeah, Aaron Michael I would add. I would even put Lance Schill into this mix as well, just because he won the Grand Forks a lot to start the year.
WISSOTA's top 10 points. There's some interesting names.
I would almost include Zach Ranke in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Zach deserves some mention there as well. So looks like right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 names right now. Any others sticking out that maybe we're missing here?
Number 8 in WISSOTA, North Dakota points, along with Jamie Deitzler.
Oh yeah, Jamie I would probably add.
Jamie's actually a good one to add, I think.
And then let's see. Yeah, that's about it. Wow.
All right. So, and of course, fans, if you're listening or watching, if we've missed someone, let us know. This is your opportunity to mention down in the comments who we may be missing, what maybe we disagree with our order. All is up for game. What's that, Jessica?
How many names do we got?
We have 13 now, so I think we can start filling in our top 10. So who would you put in number 1?
No. Let's try something different here to really put ourselves in a bind.
Oh.
Let's start at 10.
Okay.
Or do we start with honorable mention and then work our way back into 10?
We could probably start backwards at honorable mention.
Okay, Matt Duscher is an honorable mention.
Yep.
Okay.
Just in my opinion. On that one. I would also put this might be kind of different.
I'd probably
I would even do Preston Carr as an honorable mention.
Yeah, just because he didn't race a whole lot this year.
Yep.
Do we have the names up on the thing?
I have it on the spreadsheet in our group.
Okay, so let's just mark down.
Oh, so it's a working document. Hang on, let me
It
pull it up.
is. So you can all see it.
Brother, you people.
I would share it
Technology
on the
is
screen, but
great.
it's a lot of me typing and mistyping, so people don't need to see my errors.
All right,
I
let's
would
see what we
say
got here.
Did Scow win any of the big races?
Scal won out east.
Yeah, and he swept the Sites Memorial.
And he was a runner-up at the 100.
Okay, so he's got to be up there. Okay.
I would say for honorable mentions, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Whoops. 11. Probably be Zach or
I would say Zach.
I think Zach's an honorable mention.
I would use Zach.
And then from there,
At 10.
Well, actually, we have 10 names there.
Yeah. I would say
maybe
Eatsler
Nate
or Klein.
in 10th.
No, Nate.
No.
Nate had
I would
a
do
good season at Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Nate
He
had a
also
pretty good
finished
season
strong at Tri-County too.
at I-94. He also had a pretty good season. And I'm just doing, how their whole entire season was, not just from the North Dakota side.
I would say Austin
I would
10th.
I would say Austin 10th.
Okay.
I would put Austin Hunter 10th.
The second in North Dakota points.
Actually, Mason, back that up. I might put Jamie 10th. I'll put Jamie actually in 10th.
Yeah, let's put Jamie 10th.
Yeah, I would do Jamie 10th.
Klein at 9.
And then I would agree with Jessup. I would put Klein as 9th.
Then maybe Michael.
Yeah, Aaron Michael at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would leave us with Berg, Hunter, Rodine, Wibstead, and Waite. And Nate.
I would put Hunter.
Nate.
No, I'd put Hunter in 7th.
Hunter 7. Okay.
Yeah. I would do Austin 7th.
The only reason why I put Nate that low is mainly because he's sitting at 22nd in state points.
Yeah. How many wins did Nate have this year?
He had 2 at Tri-County at the end of the year.
Oh yeah, he sweep sauerkraut.
He swept
the sauerkraut.
Yeah. Wibstead he started off so hot this season and then it kind of tailed off at the end.
He had a lot of mechanical troubles towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
But he had a heck of a season at Jamestown Speedway.
Yeah.
And got a few wins at Cheyenne as well.
Go back to our working document.
So who we got left to sort here? Rodine, Brendan Wade, Jaron Webstead, Nate Ranke, Jory Berg, Matt Scow. Oh, we didn't put Lance Schill anywhere.
Is that or those the 6 that we have left, right?
That's 7 we have left.
So we're
7 left.
We need another
1,
honorable
2, 3.
So we have to have one more honorable mention, right?
So
yeah, should we put Lance Schill in there just because he took
I would
so
do
much
an
time
honorable
off?
mention. Yeah, because he took about a month off.
And then did he really race much for Midwest Mods at the end of the year?
No,
he ran the sites and that was about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran other shows with it, but they weren't so sanctioned.
Okay, so I would say 6 would be between Nate Ranke, Jory Berg, or Matt Scow.
I would put Nate 6th.
Okay.
Here's the only reason why. Because Nate was okay from a physical perspective of racing this year from like the win perspective, but he also had a couple of shows that weren't great. I mean, and it wasn't more from like mechanical, he just didn't run well.
Right.
Oh.
Hey,
I would put Matt 5th. I would do Scow 5th. Scow was really hot through August into September.
Before that,
he had a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I would probably go Whipstead next after Scow.
That's where my brain was going to.
So Jaron is 4th.
Yeah. Then I'd say
Joey
Jory.
Bort.
I would
Jory
do
Berg,
Jory
yep.
3rd as well. Yep.
Then Wait, and then Rodine.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing with Jessup. I would actually do Wait 2nd, Rodine 1.
Okay. So it looks like your top 10 for Midwest mods for the Track Packers is Lucas Rodine number 1, Brendan Waite 2, Jory Berg 3, Jaron Whipstead 4, Matt Scow 5, Nate Reinke 6, Austin Hunter 7, Aaron Michael 8, Jared Klein 9th, and Jamie Dietz are rounding out your top 10. Honorable mentions: Matt Duscher, Preston Carr, Zach Reinke, and Lance Schill. That's a tough class.
Yep.
These are not going to get any easier, by the way. All righty, moving on to the WISSOTA Street Stocks.
Ooh, me first. Actually, I've been first a lot. John first.
Okay.
Go ahead. I can name drop like 6 of them.
I would say I'll name drop 4 right away. So Kyle Anderson, Hunter Domagala, Tucker Peterson, and then I'm going to throw in. Who else should I throw into this? KCU status.
KCU status.
Becca?
I'll go Jeff Hellman, Hunter Carter, and let's go with Dustin Erickson.
Jessup, do you have any to add?
I would go with Trey Hess. Then it gets a little hairy there. I'll say Jaden Christ.
I think Jaden's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could just do Billy and Jaden as a team for the season.
Oh, Jessup. I'm pretty sure we'll do them separately.
And then I'll throw Billy in there too.
We'll throw Billy in there. I think Cole Gresseth.
Oh, yes. I forgot about Cole.
Yep.
Forgot about Cole.
Chris Welk Jr., I think, is another one that we could consider. And did anyone say Johnny Carter?
Nope, nobody said Johnny Carter yet.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, so we got
Chris Ritter as well.
Chris Ritter, I was going to mention as well.
So we have a lot.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 right there.
All right, now we're going to really get to the rat killing here. How are we going to upset people?
Okay, so honorable mentions. Right, we're going to start from the bottom, work our way up.
I will say Jaden Christ gets an honorable mention because he did not race a full season.
I would also say Billy deserves an honorable mention because I don't think Billy won it all this year.
Didn't he?
I was just going to look at that up.
I don't think he did. I think I checked the other day. I don't think he won this year.
They both ran up front, but Jaden got a win in Mandan, but then was later disqualified.
Yep. Jaden had several wins in Jamestown, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, according to my race pass, it says the only verse that Billy got was in the Legends for qualifying.
For what?
For qualifying.
Okay. Well, if that's going to be if that's what our standard is.
Wait a second.
We need to win.
Oh, sorry. My bad. That's a caution on me.
That
is a caution on me.
Pretty sure Billy won opening night in Jamestown.
That is a caution on me. I cannot read.
I was like, Legends. He qualified first in the Legends. What Legends?
It says Semi-Pro Legends on Thursday, July 27th on my race pass. Was that practice night?
I don't know. Let's move on. So
I'd also put Chris Ritter as honorable mention. He had a great year, but
did he win?
He did not win, so that's why I
Nope.
would put Chris Ritter as
Well, if
honorable
we're
mention.
going strictly by the fact of winning and low, Chris Welk Jr. is also.
I would also put him as an honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Yep. That would be another one that I would have put.
They were both tough competitors at whatever track they went to, but never did break into victory lane like many of the others on this list.
Yeah.
Are we putting both the Chris in as honorable mention? Or maybe like,
let's see.
Did Dustin Erickson win this year?
Did you know if you look for Chris Ritter under my race pass, it is Christopher?
It is. Very true.
All right, moving forth.
Okay, so I would back up on Jaden Christ. I think I'd put Jaden in the top 10.
You put him in the top 10? Okay.
Yep, just because he had multiple wins before the whole thing happened in July.
So we got Billy Christ.
We have Billy, Chris Welk Jr., and Chris Ritter so far in the honorable right mason. We had 14 drivers.
Yep, so we need one more in the honorable mention.
I think I would put Dustin Erickson in the honorable mention.
Okay.
But he won a track championship.
He did,
True.
Yes.
True. But I would still put him honorable as like right outside the top 10.
I would too.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so now we're in our top 10. So, based on our chatter so far, would you put Jaden as number 10?
I think I'd do Jaden as 10. Yep.
Okay. Number 9, who we got?
I think I would put
Trey or Cole?
I put Trey as 9.
Trey is number 9. And then maybe Cole Gressett?
That's what I was thinking, but
I was thinking that too. I was thinking maybe Cole number 8.
let's do this real quick. Hold on. Well,
actually, no. No, I would not. Which Hunter?
Carter.
I actually wouldn't do that either.
Oh.
I actually, for number 8, I would put Casey.
With Casey?
No.
I would put Casey as number 8 because Cole Gresseth has 2 track championships this year against pretty good field of cars at several of those tracks.
Yeah, but I mean,
this is tough.
Got 30 top 5s, 7 wins, and 49 top 10s in 65 races, where Cole's only got 4 wins in 48 races, and Hunter's only got 2 wins in 24 races and 6.
This is really tough. I would probably I'd put maybe Cole and then
I would go man, I think
this is gonna be really tough because they're all really good competitors, but I would maybe put Jeff Hellman in 8th. He got 4 wins on this season and it was always just right there compared to some of these other drivers who just found victory lane more frequently.
See, I struggle with the Hunter Carter one simply because if you look at the John, you're a numbers guy, looking at the percentages of top 5s, Cole and Casey have better top 5 percentages.
Mm-hmm.
And that's harder to do when you're racing a greater volume of races.
Yeah, yep. I'd almost put Hunter as 8th and then maybe Cole and Casey. Just because, I mean, Hunter raced against like stacked fields a lot, but he was struggling through a lot of the summer until like sites.
I agree with you guys on that too. I would put Hunter as number 8 then. I would do Hunter Carter as number 8.
Then it's a toss-up from here on out, and everything can be easily argued.
Yeah. This is my personal opinion up to 5th, so I'm just going to go that route. So Hunter is number 8 in my mind on that one. Casey would be 7. Cole would be 6. And then in fifth on. Well, actually, let me back up here really quick because we haven't done Jeff yet, have we?
We haven't done Jeff. I'd almost put Jeff there.
I would put Jeff there
At where?
5.
7 or
at
5?
5.
Okay.
Where do you want
So-
to put Johnny Carter? He got 7 wins on the season.
I think I'd put him 4.
I would say 4 would be a good spot for Johnny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because who do we have left then? We have Kyle Anderson,
Hunter
Tucker
Damagala, and Tucker.
Pearson, and Hunter. Yeah,
So Hunter got 10 wins on the season, but he didn't travel a whole lot. I would have loved to. I would put. He's got a very fast car. He just didn't travel a whole lot. I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to have seen him travel more and compete against some of these guys on this list.
I personally would put Hunter Amagala as 3, in my personal opinion. I'd keep him ahead of Johnny just because of the fact of the matter that um, Hunter did have more wins throughout the year from a show perspective as well. Johnny did have some mechanical problems throughout the year too that he was battling, so I would kind of keep Hunter kind of up there a little bit more in front of Johnny on that one.
Yeah, I think his dominance at Dakota Speedway definitely is. I think that should put him above Johnny.
Yep.
And then he won 4 straight track championships out there too, which is pretty
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
This is true. So then that leaves Kyle Anderson and Tucker Pearson for 1-2.
And that one gets to be tough. Just because I know they both won a lot this year directly in events.
Kyle was hot as soon as August rolled around and going
Yeah.
into September. So in my personal opinion, I go with Tucker second, Kyle first.
I kind of agree with Becca on that,
That
just
would
because
be
of the
my
fact
vote too.
of the number of shows against the win slash top 5 slash
And
anything
didn't
else.
he have some
Plus,
wins where he came from deep in the pack too? So like that's really
yes.
impressive on its own.
Plus, I look at season end specials for that too, and Kyle definitely had more success in the season end stuff than what Tucker did.
Now, this is where it gets a little complicated for me because Tucker's got 26 wins. He's number 1 in North Dakota points. What is he for WISSOTA points? 3rd?
Third.
It was 3rd. And Mason, Kyle was 6th,
Kyle
right?
was 6th. Yep.
And the other issue is how many different profiles does Kyle use?
The Kyle, the other
yeah.
Kyle Anderson,
Isn't it Kyla Anderson or something?
Kyla Anderson.
Kyla.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
That's a random aside from. Was it a sprint car racer in
Yeah,
California?
there it is.
Wasn't that?
No, Kyla
Yes, I
Anderson.
found it during was the monster truck show at Dakota Speedway. I think it was that August 5th time frame, or that was the August 5th date.
Let's go back here. Kyle
Somewhere in that one too.
Anderson, 53 races, 7 wins, 34 top 5s, 42 top 10s. Tucker Peterson, 80 races, 26 wins, 57 top 5s, 65 top 10s.
80 races. Good grief.
Yeah, he traveled a bunch this year. A bunch.
I honestly was still lean Kyle just because of like I remember several of the races he won, especially towards the end of the year, like the big specials when you have like a very large field of cars. I know Tucker's won his fair share of larger field cars, but none. I just feel like Kyle was more on the hot streak, especially to finish out the year than Tucker was.
Yep.
Okay, let me.
Plus races that those two were together in. I look at that too. What tracks were they racing in at the same time together, and who finished ahead of who more?
But Tucker had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 race winning streak. And then let me go a little further here. A 23 race stretch where he didn't finish outside the top 10. In that, there must have been a 15 stretch race where he didn't finish outside of the top 5. And that was in July.
Well, you see, folks, see how hard it is to come up with a top 10 for some of these classes.
So
It's tough.
in his 20 races between September, I might be off here, but by 1 or 2, but in 20 races between September 1st and the end of the season, he only finished outside the top 10 5 times.
That is pretty good. Okay, so let's do it this way. Since there's 4 of us here, let's do a vote. If you put Kyle as your number 1 over Tucker, raise your hand. And then Tucker over Kyle. That's still less than the voting of the crowd. So for this power ranking, we'll put Kyle Anderson as number 1 for the WISSOTA Street Stocks and Tucker as number 2. Obviously, you can make a case for either one, and you can make a case for any of our the other positions in this top 10. So top 10 for WISSOTA Street Stocks. We have Kyle Anderson, number 1, Tucker Peterson, number 2, Hunter Damagala, number 3, Johnny Carter, 4, Jeff Hellman, 5, Cole Gretz at 6, Casey Usat as 7th, Hunter Carter, 8th, Trey Hess, 9th, and Jaden Christ as your 10th. And then honorable mentions include Chris Ritter, Chris Falk Jr., Billy Christ, and Dustin Erickson. That's probably
if we got this list wrong, let us know in the comments. Let us know who we missed or who should be higher, who should be lower. Let us know.
Yes. This is by no means a perfect list. This is just to have some fun and kind of just recognize people who had some really good seasons in 2023. And then the last one we'll do for WISSOTA late models for our top 10 power rankings. And so the 2 late model fans here, John, Jessup, which one of you 2 want to drop some names first?
Going first. So I will do Brad Sang, Dustin Strand, Brody Ruffgruben, Mike Gresseth. So those are my 4. I'm only going to take 4 right now.
You didn't want to just take the easy one? I'll take the easy one. I'll take TPO.
Go ahead. I gave you the easy one.
Thank you. That's all I ever asked for. Shane Edgington. Let's go with him. Let's take a look. Keep going a little further. Yes. National.
Who hasn't taken the easy one, has he?
I said TPO.
Well, there's also Cole Schill. I would put his
name
in.
Yeah, Cole Schill, yeah.
Yep.
What about John Sang?
John Sang actually had a really good year.
Had a good season.
I would put him in there.
Wow. Then after that, it kind of gets a little harder.
Lance Schild, I can't remember if he got any wins this year. I know he's a kind of a front runner that we think about.
Let me go back here. Rusty Coleman has to get put in there.
Did anyone say Joey Peterson?
No,
but he's got to be put in there too.
Yeah, Joey's got to be put in there.
Joey's got to be in there. Let's go back to WISSOTA National, North Dakota points. Well, top 10 as of here is Jesse Tennis, Brandon Corbett, Greg Moore.
So we need a few more.
Ryan Corbett's one that I always think of that's pretty fast. I know he doesn't have the best luck.
I would say Jason Strand.
Jason Strand would be a good one to add in there.
Mitch Johnson.
I would agree with that. Yep.
Checking out some of the names.
So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. John, you said Dustin Strand, correct?
I did. Yep.
Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 12 names right there. Any more names that we should add?
No, realistically, no. Let me double check one more place.
Because I think most of them race outside of North Dakota for the most part from there.
Well, it's basically a couple different entities that make up this list. One, River Cities, Devil's Lake, and the NLRA.
Yeah. So should we start at the top of this list and go down?
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay, so I think number 1 should probably be TPO.
I would agree.
I guess.
I would say with how many big races he won this year in his first year in a late model, he's probably never race.
A lot, as Jessup would say.
Oh, we probably could add Bryce Sword.
Yeah, we could probably put him. I would put him as an honorable mention, maybe, because he doesn't race in North Dakota a ton, but he did come up to race.
He's an NLRA points.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put Bryce Ford as an honorable mention.
We'll get there. Let's take out the easy ones first.
Yeah, so Tyler Peterson was number 1.
Number 2, I'm debating between 2 people here.
I've got a 3 in my mind.
Actually, right 3 now.
2.
I think it's cut and dry for me, but I can hear you guys out.
Because I have Shane Edgerton, Mike Gresseth, or Brad Sink.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Dustin Strand, although Dustin Strand probably didn't have the best year.
Yeah. I want Dustin. Dustin should be top 5 for sure. I just don't know where I should put him at from there.
I would say Gresseth, and here's why. He's a 3-time back-to-back NLRA champion now. And that takes some good commitment.
Yep. And he was runner-up at the Stampede. How many feature wins did he get this year?
Well, let's go to the old My Race Pass.
Just think of we had to rely on people like John for results back in the day before My Race Pass, and there's only so many Johns out there in the world.
There's always a John. He's got 6 wins, Mason.
6 wins, okay.
On the season, he went 38. He really raced 38 events. Wow, I didn't think he raced quite as many, but 18 top 5s, 27 top 10s. First win was at Greenbush. I'm assuming NLRA. Another one at River Cities, one at Red River. That was the Howie Shill win.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to think if he won the Howie Shill race. That's the other one I was trying to think of.
He won a race at the Dead Horse Creek Speedway, swept the Labor Day weekend up at Greenbush, and then finished the season with a 2nd place at Jamestown.
I would almost say North Dakota wise, if we were doing more on a national scale, if we were doing national scale, I'd probably put Shane 2nd, but I think for North Dakota wise, I would put Mike Gresseth 2nd.
Yeah, and Mason, I would agree with that too, because I was just looking at results on that one too, and Shane, I think on the national side has a little bit better statistics than Mike, but the argument I think could be for either one for 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
Well, Shane's stats for the year: 54 races, 5 wins, 23 top 5s, 33 top 10s. He won at Greenbush, then won at Dead Horse, won at Cedar Lake. He got a USA National win. That's a big one. River City, August 25th. Sites, yeah.
Yeah, and Sites, and then I think the Prelude, he was up there in the Prelude too beforehand.
All right, so we got the top 3 ironed out. I think I would personally vote Dustin number 4.
Agreed. Yep, I would do Dustin number 4. Looking at his results, he should be number 4 for sure.
And then Brad number 5.
I would stick Brad as number 5, and then I would do after Brad. I would probably do either Cole or Joey.
Those are the 2 I was thinking of. I would probably put Cole next. Cole Schill, and then Joey Peterson as number 7. So who do we got left? We got Brody Traffgruben, Jason Strand, Mitch Johnson, Lance Schill, and John Sang.
Hold on 1 second.
Brody was your track champion at
I'm
Devil's
going to
Lake.
argue that last one.
Okay.
Just simply by statistics standings for the sake of arguing. 48 races for Cole, 2 wins, 17 top 5s, 31 top 10s. Whereas Joey had 23 races, 2 wins, 11 top 5s, and 16 top 10s.
And Joey is more local than
He's very local. He won at River Cities and Devil's Lake.
Yeah, because Cole kind of followed majority of the structure building series.
Yeah.
So where was Cole's wins at?
His wins were at I-94, May 5th, and River Cities, June 9th.
Jessup, if you click on the wins at the top of the My Race Pass page, it'll just give you all of his wins.
That's it.
Oh, he only had 2.
Yeah, he had 2. They both had 2.
Top 5s.
Jessup, I think, convinced me to put Joey over Cole.
Jessup did not convince me to put Joey over Cole, and here's the reason why.
He went to Central Arizona.
I put a lot of stock into year-end specials for late models, because that's when you get a lot of the guys together in one place. Cole Schill ran a lot better at year-end specials than Joey did. For instance, Sides Memorial, Cole made the main, Joey did not make the main. So I would still say Cole should be over Joey in the top from 6th to 7th.
And I would agree.
Yeah, I can see that too. Okay, we'll keep Cole over Joey. That's 6 and 7, so we have 3 more spots. I think Brody should be next.
Agreed.
I would agree.
Brody draft grouping. So then we have 2 more spots between John Sang, Lance Schill, Jason Strand, and Mitch Johnson. Maybe
What are you guys thinking?
I don't know. That's tough.
I'm
Mitch
thinking
had no wins, so I hate to say it. Mitch, I think you may have to go into the
I think he's going to be honorable.
Lance Schill.
I-
Lance Schill. Okay, hold on.
He's got both Midwest mod and late model in there.
right. He does have a late model win at River Cities on June 2nd.
Oh, who am I looking at? Lance Schill has Monat Raceway.
And he won in Williston.
That's right.
River
He
City.
won over there during the fall
roundup. So probably Lance
roundup.
number 9.
Yep.
I think I would do Lance number 9.
Where's Jason Schill in all this?
Strand, you mean?
Jason Strand. I'd probably say John. Well, let's see.
John Sang.
I would do John Sang as number 10. He kind of came into his own this season.
I think so, yeah.
Because he won a race too, didn't he?
Oh,
Yeah, he won at Devil's Lake.
Yep.
So then that would put Jason Strand and Mitch Johnson in the honorable mention along with Bryce Sword.
Didn't we have Ryan Corbett in that honorable mention section too?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he should be honorable, I would say as well, because Ryan had a nice year, but not a great year.
Okay. So your top 10 for WISSOTA late models according to the Track Packers. Number 1, TPO Tyler Peterson. Number 2, Mike Gresseth. Number 3, Shane Edgington. 4, Dustin Strand. 5, Brad Sang. 6, Cole Schill. 7, Joey Peterson. 8, Brody Trough-Grubin. 9, Lance Schill. 10, John Sang. And then again, honorable mentions: Bryce Sword, Jason Strand, Mitch Johnson, Ryan Corbett.
I think it's good. Guys, should we go back to 2 of the classes? I have one comment on both for Midwest Mods and Streets.
But
Just my thinking out loud, looking back.
Okay.
Streets, I think we need to put somebody in as an honorable mention. I think Seth needs to go in there as an honorable mention. I don't think we added him. Yep. I think he definitely needs to go in there from that perspective, just because he won several races this year, had a pretty good year. He was the
track champion at Devil's Lake.
Correct. Yep. So I think he needs to be added at least as an honorable. Midwest Mods, I kind of went back to statistics on this a little bit, like Joseph was looking at too, and I don't know if I'm justified putting Jamie as number 10.
Jared, you mean? Or Jamie Dietzler?
I,
It's
Jamie, I have Jamie was number 10. I don't know if I'm justified in that per se, because looking at the amount of wins that Jamie had compared to some of the other guys that we didn't put in the top 10, I'm like, we might want to change that one.
Oh.
So then from our honorable mentions, who would you swap out for Jamie? Matt Duscher, Preston Carr, Zach Greinke, or Lance Schill?
I would actually do Lance as number 10 because he had 2 late model wins and he had 7 Midwest mod wins this year.
Oh.
I'm good with that.
Would you bump him over anybody else, though?
Lance ran a part-time schedule in the Midwest Modifieds, right, John? Is that who you said?
Yeah, he was more part-time, kind of in both classes this year. He was a little bit more part-time, but he was definitely more part-time Midwest mod related than what he has been in the past.
Impressive season for running part-time.
Yeah.
So who was number 9 in the Midwest ones?
Jared Klein. And Jared was pretty solid at both Jamestown and Cheyenne.
But did
Yeah, he was pretty solid on
those
those ones.
Like he was pretty consistent in both places.
And Michael was number 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would just leave Lance as 10. We can just leave him as number 10. I think he deserves to be to the 10.
Okay. So we make that modification. And so that is our first iteration of the Track Packer Power Rankings. That's a mouthful, by the way.
Track Packer Power Rankings. Mason, you need to practice this. And please say it with some deflection. We don't need you to be like other announcers out there.
TPPR.
TPPR, yes.
TPPR.
Excellent. So, of course, we'll be tackling all these classes in future episodes. So stay tuned on which classes we'll be divvying up next for the Power Rankings. And as we close the show with our white flag segment, we want to give a shout out to Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro, who I'm sure is very busy with harvesting nowadays. But I want to thank Isaac so much for supporting us on the Track Packers. If you ever see him at the races or at the banquets coming up, be sure to stop by and talk with him. Him and his family are some of the nicest people to talk to. Always have special goodies over at his trailer. And thank you so much once again, Isaac, for supporting us. Anyone have any wins of the week or any shout outs that they want to do? Oh, Becca, you're nodding your head.
I do.
Becca, I'm surprised you said you didn't have any to start the show.
Yeah. I did a Jessup and I thought of some on the fly. So my first win of the week goes to Jordan Boyce, who was recently elected into the Nodak Speedway Hall of Fame. He's had a very he's had a fantastic racing career dating back decades, and very he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame up at the Nodak Speedway. So congratulations to him. My next win of the week goes to Pat Dorr for picking up the late model victory over at Topless Nationals. So congratulations to Door Daddy.
Excellent couple of wins. I think you stole one or two from Jessup. Do you have any left, Jessup?
I have tons left, Mason. I just have to look them up.
Well, I can list the two I have while you think.
I will go with.
Yeah, go ahead, Mason. You can do. Jess, if you want to go last.
Yeah, I'll go last, even though I'm calling Wayne Johnson.
Oh yeah, you go to Wayne Johnson.
Go. First. You can go ahead, Jessup.
No, I just want to say, as a whole, I would like to say that one of my featured winners of the week is the 2023 Nodak Hall of Fame inducting class. You all deserve a win, as you have all served our sport graciously, honorably, and you've helped push the sport in a positive aspect. So there's one. And then I got to double check my second one, as it is just making sure, because they ran a couple different races this week. Was it Dave? Yep. All right. So David Grabble gets my second one because he picked up the very last ever feature win at the Devil's Bowl Speedway for the World of Outlaws. So that was a very historic weekend, very sad weekend as apparently some company bought out all the land that the airport and the racetrack were located on, and I don't know why they couldn't just build next to it, but I guess that's what they call progress and progression, because we don't have enough dumps that we can't just get rid of and cause progression and progress to happen on. So hats off to David Gravel on a very big win. And my third one goes out to Riley Goodnow, as he raced a throwback scheme to, I can't remember his name, but it was the very first winner of the World of Outlaws, the very first race of their whole series, and the race that occurred at the Devil's Bowl. So for those who don't know who Riley is a consistent runner down through the Midwest, and especially around Knoxville. And he's a younger guy. He's raced in North Dakota a few times now, and that was pretty cool. He got a lot of spotlight for his car design, and he made the feature, I believe, both nights. So hats off to him.
And it was a Kenny Woodruff, Jimmy Boyd tribute car.
Yep.
John, you got a couple wins?
I do.
Go ahead.
So my first one of the week, I'm going to give it over to Jeremy Nelson for winning the modified portion of the Topless Nationals. Congratulations to Jeremy on a very nice run over there. I've got 3 of them. So that's his, that's the first one of the week there for Jeremy. My second one is going to go to the driver that Mason is repping, Derek Turner, who finished second in the feature for the street stock class over at the Topless. They had about 50 entries in that division, so really nice run for Derek within that division as well. And my final win of the week is going to go over to Jesse Dennis from Iowa. He picked up the win down at Park Jefferson this past weekend against a very stout field of IMCA modified drivers. I mean, you had Brandon Beckendorf, Tom Berry Jr., Tim Ward, a lot of big names, Jordan Grabowski, Nick McBurdy. I mean, they were in the top 5, and Jesse ended up picking up the feature win over there in the Iowa area. So congratulations to Jesse. He is from Corning, Iowa, and he picked up the win down there at Park Jefferson this past weekend.
Awesome. Nice couple wins there. You stole one of mine. How dare you?
I know.
Yeah, of course. So I'll kind of go off the seat of my pants and give a win to Brandon Duelman and the Super Stocks, who kicked things off by winning the feature at Topless Nationals. I think he's only had 2 or 3 wins this year, and 2 of them have come at pretty big races, one at the sites and obviously at the Topless Nationals. So nice time of the year to get hot and get some good feature wins to finish out the 2023 season. So congrats to Brandon Duelman. And I'll just do 2 wins because my second one kind of goes to mainly Hunter Van Gilder, because they had an issue with Ty Egan's 26 car. He was using a borrowed motor, which actually blew up as he was crossing the finish line in his heat race. So was planning to take the rest of the weekend off, but Hunter Van Gilder lent him his other motor. They had to go all the way back to Rice Lake to get the motor and get it all put together. And I believe it was Caden Woody's shop on Saturday, and he was able to get that all put together with the help of several people in the pits, and Ty was able to race the feature later that night. So big shout out to Hunter Van Gilder for lending a motor so that way Ty could compete on the Saturday portion of the Topless Nationals.
I got honorable mentions as well, even though these guys should be right up there with wins of the week. As the first honorable mention goes, I got 4. Okay, so all from the same event.
Oh, wow.
First goes to the Eldora Speedway for battling extremely challenging and ominous weather conditions to get the World Dirt Track Racing Championship in. Second goes to Brent B. Shep, as he picked up the win in basically
Running out of fuel.
Yeah, he was out of gas, and it was insane. Third goes to Hudson O'Neill for picking up the Lucas Oil Championship, while it in a very different format. but he did what he had to do to win. So hats off to you. I think he's going to have a good couple years coming up now, since they got their feet underneath them with the rocket house car, basically. And the fourth one is going to be Ricky Thornton Jr. He gave a very real outlook on life and racing on his Facebook page. And frankly, I think a lot more people need to take that outlook and realize at the end of the day, sun's going to come up tomorrow. It really doesn't. I mean, it matters, but at the end of the day, does it really matter to the point that we should allow it to drive us absolutely insane? So those are my 4 other additional winners.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I totally spaced out because, yeah, that was a crazy end of the weekend for the Lucas Oil Series.
Yeah.
Supposed to race Thursday, Friday, Saturday, ended up being then Sunday. So, I mean, yeah, and that wreck in the late models on Saturday was really bad, and luckily that driver was okay as well. So,
yep, shout out to all involved. It's not easy to put on a race of that magnitude, especially when the weather doesn't really, or Mother Nature doesn't cooperate, especially. So, shout out to
Mother
everyone.
Nature was not nice.
Did you guys see either the fan or the pit crew guy get clobbered by the wall? Well, maybe not clobbered, but
you're talking about the photographer that was sitting on the inside of the track.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's taking a photo, not looking anywhere. And I think we got to start. I know photographers and pit crew people are going to get mad at this, but there's got to be a point where we just say, you can't be stupid. Because he's hanging out. He's right up on the fence, shooting in between the fencing. And he's looking the opposite way on the backstretch of Eldora, where they're cruising. And somebody lost control and smoked the fence. And he went, I don't know if he got hit, but he went tumbling the opposite way. And it looked like he got smoked pretty good, and I'm pretty sure his camera's messed up if he didn't get hit.
Well, it's like is either that or like from the way I saw it, like he was either he almost looked like he was crouching behind the wall, almost looking at his camera too. So it's like he probably didn't see that coming either.
So this is a pleasant reminder for all of our safety crews that maybe, take a step or two back. There's no need for you to be standing directly on the guardrails or running out on standing by the entrances or
laying on the track.
Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, another one that really gets me concerned, Mason, is watching like the overzealous side-by-side and four-wheeler people just storm the track when the caution takes place, because one of these days someone's gonna get hit, just clobbered. Yeah. And the car versus either one of those, it's not really that much of a competition.
Yeah, there's actually been instances I've been at a couple tracks where like the people that are operating the four-wheelers, I'm like, can you be a little bit more careful? Because I don't really want you, because they're really aggressive when they try to whip those things around and go one direction. I'm just like, yep. Man, if you fall off, that's not going to be a good deal.
Yeah.
Or when they tip backwards going up the banking on the track.
Look, if a car or a piece of debris falls off, there's a car doesn't fall off, but it spins out. But if a piece of debris is what the caution is, you can just take your time, let the caution get thrown, and then go get it. There's no need to put yourself in harm's way for picking up a piece of tin.
Yeah. That's a really good reminder and a nice way to close episode number 33 of the Track Packers podcast for season 2. Be sure, as always, to like, share, and comment on our videos on Facebook and YouTube is where you can watch them. Spotify, Google, and Apple is where you can listen. And also on Apple, give us a 5-star review. Thank you to our sponsors, Hitch Harness and Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro. Racing season may be done, but we still got plenty to come. So we hope to see you out there packing the track.